What is a mandala? I looked it up on people's how stuff works, and this is what they said. A mandala is a spiritual and ritual symbol that can be seen throughout Asian cultures. The mandala is a geometric design produced in many forms, such as paper, cloth, with thread, wood, metal, or stone. The word mandala comes to us from the Sanskrit language and loosely translates as circle. Mandalas are central in the Hinduism and Buddhism religion, but we can also find them in many cultures and religions around the world, such as Native American, Jewish, Christian, and Islamic art. Typically, they contain symbols and geometric designs which can be simple, intricate, or complex. The mandala is used to teach about spirituality and one's place in the universe. They are believed to represent different aspects of the universe, such as unity, wholeness, harmony, and our relation to infinity. Here we see Tibetan monks making a sand mandala. They spend hours on end dropping one grain of sand after another to intricate symbolic patterns. The purpose is to call the community to meditation and awareness of something larger than their own small world. When the mandala is finally finished, however long it takes, they pray over it and then they destroy it. They sweep it up, every last grain of sand, and give handfuls of it away to those who participate in the closing ceremony as a final memory of the sublime possibility. Then they throw the rest of the sand into the nearest living stream to be swept into the ocean to bless the whole world. And that's it. It's gone. In an instant, after all that artistry, it's all over. All right, artists, for our mandala, I am not going to make you painstakingly put it on one piece of sand at a time, but we are going to create a section of the mandala, a drawing on a wedge, and then we are going to just repeat it all the way around, and I'm going to show you a trick to do that. If you use letters like in this one, just know that part of them will turn out backwards. That's something to keep in mind. And these two are just made with simple geometric shapes. The one I'm going to show you, I used more of a drawing. To prepare the background piece of paper that our mandala is going on, I'm going to just make a 6-inch grid. So I'm going to measure on the edge of the paper. It's 12-inch paper. I'm going to mark at the 6 on one end. I'm going to do that on each of the sides, mark at 6 inches. And then I'm going to draw a line across so that I have a nice grid to follow with our wedge that we drew on. After you've drawn your design on the wedge, you're going to use your graphite pencil and just color over the whole back of it with the pencil and pushing kind of hard to get lots of graphite on the back of it. This is going to work like transfer paper. So our drawing is on the other side. We're scribbling on the back side, and you'll see in a moment how we can place it onto our grid and trace our design. And we'll be able to trace it this way to transfer it all the way around our mandala. So you can see now I have my wedge lined up with the grid. I have a nice line to line it up with to make sure it's on there straight. I've got the side that I scribbled all over is down towards my background paper now, and I'm just tracing what I drew. So, like I said, mine is kind of like a drawing. I was thinking about camping, so I made my little tent. I made a waterfall. I made some trees and some mountains in mine, and that design is going to be transferred all the way around my mandala. But you don't have to do a drawing of something. Like you saw, most of the mandalas in the examples were just circles, lines, triangles, curves. You can just kind of fill it up with shapes, and then it'll make a more intricate design when you put it all the way around, kind of like how a quilt patches work when you put them next to each other. You could use letters, you could write your name or some other word, and then like you saw in the example, some of the shapes will just be backwards when you transfer them. So 4 of them will be the right direction and 4 of them will be a mirror image of it. Since the graphite is behind this wedge, when I'm tracing over it with my pencil, as long as I'm tracing and pushing hard with my pencil tip, a nice sharp pencil, by the way, that graphite that's behind it is getting transferred to the paper underneath. So it takes a little time to follow all of your shapes. After I did this project, I thought maybe it would work to transfer it with different colored pencils. And the first time it's easy to see which sections you've done and which sections you still have to trace. But after you've traced over it a couple times, it's easy to lose track of which parts you've done and which parts you haven't done. So if you used a red colored pencil and then next time transferred it with a blue colored pencil or green, then each time maybe it would be easier to see which parts you've traced already. So that's just a thought that I had after I had finished my example. Okay, I skipped ahead to when I had my 4 sections done, transferring my mandala, the 4 sections that were going to be the same way that my wedge is. Now I'm going to trace over them with a Sharpie marker so that when I do the next 4, the mirror image 4, I don't accidentally smudge my lines. So when I get to the part where I'm going to do those mirror image sections, I'm actually going to flip my wedge over. So now I've got the part with the drawing on towards my background paper. And I'm going to color back over the back side again with my graphite pencil. So this is going to kind of be doing the opposite. Now I'm rubbing over the back of the paper and it's going to transfer on my drawing lines. So after I've scribbled carefully over the whole back, then when I lift it up, my drawing will be there in the place, but it'll be the mirror image, so it'll match up with those other sections. Finished. I'm gonna lift up. Oh, there it is. It's not as dark as the part that's gone over with Sharpie, but it's there enough that I'll be able to see it, and I'll be able to do that and go over it with Sharpie once I do all the remaining sections. And that Sharpie part really brings it to life then. It's a little hard to see in the video. It's a little lighter than it was actually on my paper, but trust me, it's there, and you'll be able to go over it with your Sharpie marker and bring it to life. Choosing this subject made the project more fun for me since camping is something I enjoy and I love nature. The project was just more fun to do. So think about something that you enjoy, something that's important to you, something that you like, and the project will be more meaningful to you. All right, here it is when I got done going over it with Sharpie. Then I took an eraser and went over it just to get rid of any of the pencil marks that I didn't quite cover with my Sharpie marker. There's always some left over that didn't quite get covered. After you erase it, it's ready to add color. You could do a really nice job with colored pencils. I did mine in watercolors. Thin markers that you could be neat with would work too. So think about putting that color around in a symmetrical way. So I just kind of went around. I started with my tents, did all my little yellow tents, and then moved on to a different section. So one thing at a time all the way around, so it'll end up a symmetrical mandala design. All right, have fun. Can't wait to see what you come up with.